Good evening and thanks for choosing Redwood News. I'm John Kennedy O'Connor. We begin tonight with several breaking news stories. First, there are reports of multiple deaths after two small planes collided mid-air along the California coast this evening. That crash happening at the Watsonville Municipal Airport in Santa Cruz County. Authorities say a total of 3 people were on the planes, which crashed while coming in for their final approaches. The NTSB is investigating tonight to determine what caused the collision. New at 11, an on-air rescue took place in southern Humboldt this evening for a hiker bitten by a rattlesnake. The 38-year-old woman was hiking in the area of Spanish Ridge, west of Honeydew, when she was bitten. A medical helicopter flew her to St. Joseph Hospital here in Eureka for treatment tonight. Now an update to a breaking story we brought you at 5 and 6. A pair of deadly traffic crashes along Highway 299 in Shasta County have sparked 2 new Northern California wildfires. Both incidents were head-on collisions involving big rigs that erupted in flames, with the fires quickly spreading to vegetation along the highway. The first crash happened this afternoon on Highway 299 east of Whiskeytown near Redding. It involved an SUV and a semi-truck and sparked the 34-acre Kennedy fire. The second crash this evening involved a sedan and a big rig on 299 near Buckhorn Summit, igniting the Buck Fire. Highway 299 is closed due to both wrecks and the fires. Those fires are burning in an area that was severely burned during the Carr fire in 2018. Now to the latest tonight on the 6 Rivers fires burning here in Humboldt and Trinity counties. Officials say more evacuated residents may be allowed to return home soon as crews continue to successfully secure fire lines. Containment jumped by 10% over the past 24 hours. Despite challenges, firefighters continue to make progress, with 6 Rivers containment now reaching 33%. The complex has now burned a total of 26,000 acres. Currently, there are over 2,100 firefighters assigned to battle the 2 massive blazes that make up the 6 Rivers complex, which are the Campbell and Amon fires. At a briefing late this afternoon, incident commanders talked about the success fire crews are having in controlling the spread of those blazes.
We're going to start on the west side of the fire, on the northwest side, around the community of Willow Creek. Everything's looking really good right here. They continue to patrol and mop up. Coming to the northern end of the Campbell fire along Waterman Ridge, this is all looking really well as well. We do have one slop over that crews continue to work. Right now they're going direct on that. They're trying to hem that in, utilizing some natural features in there. Everything's starting to look good there, but we're not out of the woods yet in this particular piece. We have several more days of work there. Coming down Waterman Ridge all the way down to Ziegler Point, everything's looking really good. Crews patrol and mop up. From Ziegler Point all the way down to Trinity Village and Salyer Heights, everything's looking good. And then again along Salyer Heights, Campbell Ridge, and Sealy Creek, this is all looking really good as well. Coming down to the south end, we've got the Amon fire. On the northeast corner of the Amon fire, crews continue to secure this part of the line. However, we're not out of the woods in this part yet. There's still a section here of uncontained line that they're trying to control right now. We have some interior islands that are going to continue to burn out and produce some smoke. And then this section right here on this eastern flank right here, we're going direct around Oak Knob Road. This takes us all the way down to Amon Ridge Road. Crews are securing this. This is starting to look really good down in here. They're patrolling and mopping up and securing that edge. And then we come down to this southwest corner. We have some interior islands burning out here, so that's going to continue to produce some smoke and some possible threat there. However, we've got a lot of crews in there. Coming out over to Friday Ridge, from Friday Ridge all the way up to the northern part of the fire, everything's looking really good there. We did a small burnout operation down the dozer line here. We continue to have some islands burn out there. That's going to present some issues just with smoke and possible amber cast, but we're looking really, really good there. And then the northern portion of the fire is looking good all the way into that northeast section that I talked about earlier. So all in all, we're looking really good on the Campbell and Amon fire.
Despite concerns of increased fire activity amid yesterday's red flag warnings, those fears didn't materialise. Our Rachel Marty talked with 5 fire behaviourists today to get their assessment on the firefighting efforts.
Last night's predicted storm luckily did not materialize over the 6 Rivers Lightning Complex fire area. Firefighters continue with full suppression techniques, and containment continues to rise, today reaching 33%.
So last night, control efforts on the fire were very successful. There was very minimal fire behavior. There was one spot across our lines, a little bit over 1/10 of a mile away from the main fire. We were able to get hand line and hose lay around that spot fire very successfully. For the rest of the fire, it was mainly patrol and mop up with very little fire activity. Today we're going to expect continued heavy smoke. The winds are switching between a southerly and a northerly direction, and that switch really just kind of keeps the smoke here, really impacting the valleys in particular, but the entire fire area is going to be expected to have very heavy smoke today. When you can't breathe, neither can the fire, and if the fire doesn't get fresh air, it smolders and creeps and backs, and it makes it much easier for us to contain and control.
As the containment of the fire progresses, some focus shifts to the cleanup of debris. Crews work with resource advisors in efforts to protect and prevent further harm to cultural and natural resources.
When suppression activities happen, we can get out ahead of that and work to flag off areas, provide advice to folks doing suppression so that those resources are protected. So far, minimal impacts have been done, but nothing major, which is the goal, and then those minimal impacts can and will be repaired during the suppression repair period during the fire.
Reporting in Willow Creek, Rachel Marty, Redwood News.
With the evacuation orders lifted in some areas early this week, officials say the need for the Red Cross Evacuation Centre has dwindled. As a result, that shelter at Trinity Elementary School on Highway 96 in Willow Creek has been closed. The Red Cross says if a need re-emerges in the future, it will reopen the facility. In the meantime, the school can begin preparing for the start of the new school year, but that has been delayed in the Trinity Klamath Joint Unified District until September 6th due to the fires. Areas to the north of the Six Rivers fires are seeing some air quality improvement today as the winds push smoke to the southeast. But air quality monitors say the winds are causing deteriorating air quality conditions for areas to the south and the east of the fire complex. Right now, Hoopa and Wichipeg are among the most impacted. Once you get out of the fire area in eastern Humboldt, air conditions moderate for the rest of the county. An unprecedented staffing shortage is forcing temporary rotating closures at Humboldt Bay fire stations. Humboldt Bay Fire currently has 10 vacant positions and is actively recruiting to try and fill those open roles. But in the meantime, the department will be operating as few as 3 fire stations at times instead of its usual 5. The fire chief offered an explanation of the staffing shortage situation to Eureka City Council.
So we're facing a pretty significant shortage right now. We have 10 vacant positions. And with that, it's required us to go to a 4-station model away from our regular 5-station deployment. But it's a temporary thing until October 1st. We're just unable to fill on a consistent basis enough of our promoted positions to be able to maintain our 5-station deployment. And there's 2 big reasons for this. One is we've had significant long-term workers' comp injuries from 2 months to a year. But we're hoping that those will be resolved by October 1st. And then we had 5 of our personnel leave for other agencies last week. And the most notably 3 captains and 1 battalion chief went to Arcata Fire. And so we're facing a pretty significant and unprecedented situation.
And again, the chief says he hopes to be able to end the rotating fire station closures sometime in October. An accused carjacker is behind bars after allegedly smashing a woman's vehicle and assaulting her in Manila. 39-year-old Daniel Dean Egger was arrested by sheriff's deputies in the area of Highway 255 and Stamps Lane in Manila. He's been held in the Humboldt County Jail on a variety of charges, including assault with a deadly weapon. New at 11, a just-released study says California's cliffs are collapsing into the sea, the fastest here along the north coast. The new report out today from ocean researchers at UC San Diego finds Centerville Beach in particular has the highest rate of cliff collapse in the state. Overall, the study indicates Humboldt, Del Norte and Mendocino counties are home to the most rapidly eroding coastline of anywhere along the California coast. An update now to a story we first brought you last night at 11. While it appeared there would be a contested race for mayor of the city of Eureka, elections officials now say that's not the case. Kim Vogel will be the only candidate on the November ballot to replace outgoing Mayor Susan Seaman. Stephen Parr submitted a petition to run against Vogel, but officials late today said that he doesn't have enough valid signatures to qualify. It's one of California's longest-running fairs, and tonight it's underway for its 126th year. Of course, we're talking about the Humboldt County Fair, which opened today in Ferndale. This year's theme is It's No Time Like Fair Time, and features livestock exhibits, horticulture competitions and horse racing. There's also a midway with carnival rides and games, along with plenty of food and entertainment.
I got a shirt.
They asked her how old was the person she was buying it for.
It's for me.
But it's for her.
But we love the fair. We love Humboldt. We love the fair.
Hooray, Humboldt, dude.
And the Humboldt County Fair runs from now through August 28th, but it is closed on Monday. Governor Gavin Newsom today announced an overhaul of mental health systems. We'll have the news on the focus on youth when we come back from this short break. And welcome back. Governor Gavin Newsom today announced that California is focusing on children as it overhauls its mental health system. The state plans to spend over $4.5 billion focused on mental health care under California's Kids Mental Health Plan. According to the governor, from 2019 to 2020, the state saw a 20% increase in suicide attempts among young people between the ages of 10 and 18. The Kids Mental Health Plan includes adding 40,000 new mental health professionals across the state to handle the needs of kids.
Here's long-windedly what we're proposing today. $4.7 billion. $4.7 billion to focus on universal screening and support and services for all of our children in the state of California from the age of 0 to 25. $4.7 billion. That's money in the bank. We're not proposing this. We're doing this. And forgive me for highlighting this. I heard the Uvalde example a moment ago, but there were a lot of politicians waxing on after Uvalde saying, we need to focus on mental health. Those same politicians were the ones that cut mental health in their states. One governor in particular by $211 million. In the state of California, we're advancing by close to $5 billion our supports for children 0 to 25.
The governor says the program will focus on early intervention as well as give schools more counsellors, give teachers more training and expand remote access to resources. Parents know how tough it is to get teens to go to bed at night, and with school starting soon in our area, that sleep is especially important. Studies show not getting enough rest can severely impact teens' bodies and brains. Reporter Erin McLaughlin looks at the new California law taking effect to help teens get more help.
It's the first week of school in San Bernardino, California. And 17-year-old Josiah Reyes gets to sleep in an extra hour, thanks to a new mandate in the Golden State, requiring most middle schools to start no earlier than 8 a.m. and high schools at 8:30, all to help students get more sleep.
I think it's way better. Just being able to wake up a little later, getting even saving that hour, it really does make a difference, because I still go to bed around the same time.
Do you feel more rested?
I feel way more rested, yeah.
His school, Summit High, used to start at 7:30. Now with that extra hour, Josiah even has time to eat breakfast, giving him a needed boost in his AP classes.
Before they changed your school start time, problems thinking, problems functioning.
Yeah, it was always a routine at this point, wanting to fall asleep in second period, because second period I was already done, I'm out.
He's not alone. Today, 70% of teens are sleep deprived. And while social media may poke fun at the problem, it's no joke. Studies link it to everything from lower grades to higher risks for obesity, depression, and suicidal thoughts.
This is a public health issue.
Advocate Lisa Lewis helped petition for later school start times in California. In her new book, The Sleep-Deprived Teen, she documents 3 decades of research showing how it helps teens.
When schools shift to later start times, attendance goes up, tardies and absences go down, grades go up. It boosts their emotional resiliency.
Though the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends teens get between 8 to 10 hours of sleep, changes in their circadian rhythms actually prevent them from becoming sleepy before 11 p.m.
They're not biologically able to. Even if you were to, tell them they had to go to bed at 9, chances are they're just going to lay there and stare at the ceiling.
What do you say to critics that would say, well, if school starts later, kids are just going to stay up later?
The research shows that they do stay up slightly later, but they more than make up for it with the additional sleep that they're able to gain.
Summit High senior Amaris Zarate says sleeping later has helped her be more attentive, including in cheer practice and on her drive home. One study found when schools went to later start times, drowsy driving accidents among teens dropped by 70%.
Because I have more sleep, I'm able to actually pay attention to what everyone else is doing around me.
You feel more alert.
Yes.
And safer.
Yes.
Her mom, Ashley, says it's even improved their relationship.
She's waking up a lot friendlier in the morning. She's not cranky. I'm actually able to interact with her a lot more.
So why do schools start so early? Back in the 1950s, most started around 9 a.m. But in the 70s, budget cuts caused districts to consolidate bus routes and stagger the start times for elementary, middle, and high schools.
Oftentimes they put the older kids in that earliest time slot, thinking, oh, well, teens should be best able to handle that. Well, now we know having a later start time is what is recommended for them.
Nationwide, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts are also considering mandates for later school start times. These teens say the change is long overdue.
Could you use more sleep?
All the time. All the time I can use more sleep. But I think I'm getting enough sleep, which is good.
You could never get enough sleep. And amid the new school start time rules, Eureka City Schools will begin classes next week on August 23rd. And coming up after this short break, I'll have the full Weather Authority forecast for you. But first, let's take a look at the almanac. Welcome to our Redwood Weather Authority Outlook, everybody. It's me, John Kennedy O'Connor. The forecast again tonight. I know I'm missing Dan Romano too. Now let's start by taking a look at the infrared and satellite forecast through Saturday morning. You can see that there are 2 areas of low pressure sitting out over the Pacific, and combined with the high pressure off to our southwest, that is creating a front, keeping warmer weather throughout the weekend. Now there is some rain over in the east, over the far north of Nevada and almost all of Oregon, but that is unlikely to be heading our way. It's actually going to keep going north, I think, and these pressure areas are going to keep our area generally dry. Although we did have a small chance of inland thunderstorms Wednesday, which could have brought lightning, that has now passed long through. Now, stronger winds have been hitting the coast and inland yesterday and today, which is not going to help with the fire containment efforts. We've seen winds up to 14 miles an hour up in Crescent City, but here today expect winds from 5 to 10 miles an hour. The wind has a small craft advisory in place for the Humboldt coastline, where we'll see 3 feet waves. Now, smoke from the 6 Rivers fires is still significantly impacting the air quality in eastern Humboldt County, so keep an eye on the air quality if you are out and about. Temperatures tonight, the lows are going to be fairly consistent with the time of year, getting warmer as we get further away from the coast. It will be a very mild 53 in Eureka, 57 in Klamath and Trinidad and Crescent City, a high of 58 in Fortuna and Neeland, 59 in Willow Creek, which will be the warmest spot tonight. Looking ahead to Friday, it will warm back up again after the overnights, and we won't see much sunshine from behind the clouds as the morning midday fog hangs around probably for the entire day at the coast. 66 degrees in Eureka, but dropping to 64 in Ferndale, even lower at 62 in Cape Town, 65 degrees in Arcata. The temperature really heating up inland with 97 degrees in Willow Creek, and the haze there isn't going to help with the poor air conditions that I mentioned. Moving up the coast, a little difference in terms of the heat. Temperatures will start at 63 degrees in Trinidad, but rising to 65 in Crescent City, 68 in Klamath, and then a big jump up to 86 degrees in Gasquet, and further inland east in Orleans and Hooper we'll see temperatures solidly in the 90s, where again it will be hazy. Look at the whole of Northern California. It's going to remain very warm inland indeed. Redding, Sacramento, Ukiah, Stockton, all reaching well over 100 degrees. Redding hitting a high of 107, and many places will be well into the 90s. Cooling off a bit in the Bay Area, and as we've move further back up the western state, 92 in Santa Rosa. Further to our north, temperatures dropping from the triple figures we've seen, southern Oregon in Medford around 95. Back here on the Humboldt County, our 7-day forecast for the coast is fairly consistent. Nighttime lows ranging from 56 to 58 for the next few nights, and daytime highs staying slightly cooler than we've seen lately. 62 today, 68, 69 for the weekend. And as the fog and marine clouds will be hanging around, things will warm up slightly next week, but remain a steady 69 degrees. Today, the wind conditions from the northwest will mean there is a small craft advisory in place with 3 feet waves, as I mentioned. Now, away from the coast, still very warm, 93 degrees, but dipping to 92 for the weekend, and an almost chilly on Monday, 88. The nighttime temperatures also ranging from 58 to 60 in the coming days. Don't forget, with the inland fires competing with this hazy hot weather and the lack of wind, to remind you again, the air quality inland will remain poor, and there are warnings in place. That's all from the Redwood News weather. I'm going to jump back now to the anchor's desk, and we'll be right back after this short break. Sports is next. Welcome to sports. Maxwell Glenn is on vacation this week. Exciting horse racing action kicks off tomorrow at the Humboldt County Fair with a potential big money winner. There's a strong stable of trainers importing horses from the Bay Area and Oregon. There's also a solid roster of jockeys who will battle to become the new riding king of Ferndale. The 6 days of mostly thoroughbred racing is being bolstered by a nearly $200,000 pick-six jackpot. Now to baseball, where the San Francisco Giants were in action for a day game this afternoon against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And for a second straight day, the Giants fell to the D-backs. Arizona scored first and often this afternoon as the Giants were shut out 5-0 at home. The Giants are now on a 2-game losing streak, having won 5 games in a row. And that's all from sports. Stay with us. We'll be back with more news after this short break. And welcome back. New at 11, new data out shows the number of residents who can afford a home in Humboldt County continues to decline. According to the California Association of Realtors, less than a quarter of Humboldt County residents can afford a median-priced home. That's down from about 30% earlier this year. The median home price is over $451,000, which means to qualify, a buyer would need to earn $102,000 a year. The California State Assembly is advancing a bill that would streamline the approval process for affordable housing projects in commercial zoned areas. Reporter Andrew Haubner has the details from the state capitol.
We have 163,000 homeless people every night on our streets here in California, and it's absolutely not acceptable.
Assemblymember Buffy Wicks and her fellow legislators have a new plan to build affordable housing.
It converts commercially zoned areas to be used for residential. So think about your kind of dilapidated strip malls. Those could be converted to low-income or mixed-income housing.
The process would allow city planners and city employees to streamline approved projects.
Ministerial approval allows for much more quicker approval for housing. And when you talk to folks who build housing, for some of them, they're waiting, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years just to break ground.
But the bill has some opponents. Livable California, an advocacy group for residents and city officials, saying, quote, approval of construction across such a broad category of zones is inappropriate, including office, retail, and parking. The group opposes taking power out of the hands of elected city officials. Assemblymember Wicks says the bill doesn't seek to create age-old housing problems.
This should not interrupt people's feel around who's going to be my neighbor necessarily right next to me, right? This is commercially zoned areas. So I think we will hopefully avoid some of those pitfalls or those fights that you've seen in other housing bills.
While Ray Pearl of the California Housing Consortium agrees.
The entire state, all of our jurisdictions need to say yes to housing, and we want to do it in the least intrusive way as possible.
And hopes this spurs development that provides a common good in multiple ways.
In those parcels where we aren't doing as well as we wish we were, there's a new option, and it's housing.
And while the affordable housing measure is advancing, it faces a deadline of August 31st. That's the final day for the State Assembly and Senate to pass bills. And we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Now, before we go, we want to recap the latest on the Six Rivers fires burning here in Humboldt and Trinity counties. And there is good news to report. Containment has jumped by 10% since yesterday. Despite challenges, firefighters continue to make progress, with Six Rivers containment now reaching 33%. Currently, there are over 2,100 firefighters assigned to battle the two massive blazes that make up the Six Rivers complex, which are the Campbell and Amon fires. And also to let you know, of course, the Kennedy fire and the Buck fire are now burning on the area around 299, where there were two fatal crashes earlier this evening. Erica will be here with Redwood News Morning. I'll be back tomorrow at 5. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Good night, everybody.